In the upcoming series, I'll be providing a beginner's guide to using Arnold to achieve your desired high-end renders. So let's get started. So the topics I'll be discussing are lights, shaders, camera settings, the imager, sample setting, and the scatter and parameters tag. Let's start with the lights topic. So after installing Arnold, you will find it here in this menu. Under Arnold's menu, you will find a camera section and then your lights and some other Arnold's driver, the display and exporting drivers, and some other drivers, the sky, the procedural, volume, scatter, and the operator, the IBR, and the scene expert, and the Arnold driver to export everything out of Arnold. I'll add the IBR window since we will be using it to see the final result that we will get inside the renders that we're trying to achieve. This window will appear. This is the IBR window. I want to dock it around here, so hit to this icon, the three lines, and grab it and leave it here. Right now my IBR is alive and working, but we see nothing. All we see is a black screen. That's because we don't have any lights in the scene. I'll just go ahead and stop it. Let's add some objects so we can demonstrate the light section in Arnold. I'll add a simple plane and a character figure. I'll scale it down a bit to around 50. Let's zoom in it. I'll hit NB to show it with growth shading with lines. Now head to Arnold's menu and add your first light in Arnold, which will be a cylindrical light. Immediately you see this cylindrical shape light. It's kind of huge, so let's shrink it down around 20%, move it up, and let's run the IBR by hitting this button here, the play button. We almost see nothing, but I can see it's working, so head to the object manager and click on the Arnold cylindrical light and increase the intensity so you can see what's happening. Let's increase it to 10. This cylindrical light is not emitting light from every single face on it, it's just emitting around the cylinder, so the top and bottom faces are not emitting any lights. Let's go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees. So as you can see, it's emitting light on our figure. Let's head back again to the object menu and click on the cylindrical light. Let's start with the basic stuff. Head to the attribute manager and click on light. You'll find this drop down here with the different light types we have in Arnold. Let's keep it on the cylindrical one. This value here controls the intensity in the viewport. It doesn't affect the final render at all. So let's uncheck this one here, the viewport preview. We don't need it. Head to the main tab and let's discuss what we have here. First thing is the color, and you can choose whatever color you like. You can play with it as much as you like to choose whatever fits you. And then we have the intensity and exposure. Both of them are simply the same thing, but exposure doubles the amount of light that is emitted from the light you're using. I use the intensity for the small adjustment in the light itself, and if you're going to hugely increase it or want to increase it by high numbers, then just use the exposure. Bring it back to 0. For the radius and height, they are controlling the radius and height for our cylindrical shape here. As you can see, we can increase or decrease as much as we like. Now for the sample and normalize, sample controls the quality of the final lit areas in your scene. So increasing them would result in more render times and less noise in the lit areas. For the normalize check, whenever it's like this check, that means increasing or decreasing the radius and height of your light object won't affect the intensity or exposure of the light itself. But if it's unchecked like this and you increase or decrease your light, that means it will increase or decrease your intensity or exposure with it. Higher values means more exposure and less values means less exposure. Let's click it back. The next section is casting the shadows. This is a check button if you want this light to emit any shadows or not. Shadow density controls the density of the shadow that is emitted from this specific light, and this one here controls the light of the shadow, as you can see. The next section here controls the contribution of the light in each of these parameters. If we increase the camera to 1, that means the light will be visible. If we turn off the diffuse, for example, there is nothing we can see because there is no diffuse values here. Same for everything else. We will explain later what the SS transmission, specular, and indirect lighting with volume means. Let's head to Details tab, and from it there is the use of the temperature. If that's what you like, click on it, and as you can see, we're getting this bluish color. If you increase the temperature values, you will get a colder, more into the blue colors, and if you decrease it you will get the orange like colors. Let's uncheck it. Now one of the most important and commonly used tabs in the lights is this one, the project one. With it you can include or exclude any object from your light. For example, let's say that we don't want this specific light to affect our plane. Let's grab the plane and put it in the exclude, and as you can see it's not affected by our light at all. On the other hand, if you put it inside the include, let's grab the plane and put it inside here, it will only include the affected objects that are included inside this tab. Now head to the light tab again and change it from the cylindrical light into, let's say, a disk light. Head to main and then increase the intensity to around 10 and increase the contribution in the camera to 1 so we would make the light visible. There is not much difference between the cylindrical and the disc shapes, but there is one more important tab that I use a lot in my work, which is the look at tab. You can grab any object you desire and drop it here, and your light will continually look at this object, whatever it is. You can use nulls if you want. So let's try moving our light, and as you can see it's always looking at our figure here. Head to the object manager and click on that disk light. The radius controls the radius of the disk that we have here. Let's make it smaller. The other options are still the same as the cylinder and they do the same stuff, except for this spread one here. It controls the fall off of the light, as you can see. Lower values makes it sharper and higher values makes it smoother. Let's go to the next light, which will be the point light. Now head to main. Let's increase the intensity to 10 and move the light closer to our object like this. We can increase the radius of the point light like this. Now it's intersecting with our plane. Let's move it upward a bit. All the other options are still the same as in the other lights. Okay, let's move to the next one. Head to light and change this point light to quad light. It's all a matter of changing the shapes with minimal or almost no more options. The extra options are to control the parameters of the new shape mostly. Let's increase the intensity to 10. Move it closer and let's increase the roundness. As you can see, it can turn the quad light into a perfect circle. The spread values here controls the fall off of the light. As you can see, more values, higher fall off, and less values, less fall off. You can use the soft edge to make your edges softer as the name suggests, and the rest is almost the same. Let's head to light tab and change this quad light into a spotlight. Head back to main and let's increase the intensity to 10 and the exposure to 1. Let's move our spotlight a bit up like this, not too much. Let's increase the cone angle a bit. As you can see on the left, you can reach a 180 or you can shrink it down to whatever you would like. Let's keep it around 35. This penumbra angle here controls the fall off inside the cone. The aspect ratio allows you to convert your perfect circle more into an ellipse shape, something like this. The drop off here controls the fall off inside the cone, as you can see. Let's move this up a bit so we can see the radius value. Let's increase the radius values. As you can see on the left, it increases the source of the cone, and the lens radius increases the lens from above. So lens radius controls the lens from above, and the cone angle controls it from down below, as you can see. And roundness, as the name suggests, it controls the roundness of the emitted light onto the objects down below, as you can see. Less values means we're going into a quad shape like, and more values we're going into a rounded circle. And the rest is the same as the other lights. Let's head to the light tab and change the spotlight into a distant light. We use this specific distant light to emulate the sunlights without using a sun, of course. Uncheck the viewport preview and hit to main. On the left, as you can see, moving the light anywhere won't do us anything because it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters in the distant light is the rotation of the object. Let's rotate it so it can emit light onto our objects like this. Let's go ahead and increase the intensity to 2. This angle here controls how hard or soft our shadows would be. Higher values equals a softer shadows. Less values equals a more defined shadows. And the rest of the options here are the same as every light we have. Let's move on. Let's head to light. Change this distant light to a mesh light. Head back to main. And as you can see, there is nothing happening in the IBR window. And additionally, here we have a new tab that is called Mesh. We can go ahead and grab our figure and drop it here, but as you can see, nothing is happening. And this is because, as the name suggests, we need a mesh. We can't use any primitives here, and our figure is still a primitive. Right click on figure and then choose connect objects plus delete. Head back to the Arnold mesh light and grab our figure and drop it in the mesh tab. So we started getting something. Click on the figure and try moving it up a bit. Nothing much is happening. Let's head back to the mesh light and increase the intensity. As you can see, we started getting some lights out of the mesh light, but this is not what we're supposed to use this specific light to do. This is mostly used in generating LED lights and neon effects. So to do this, all you need to do is check the light visible check button, and as you can see, the figure started emitting light and we can see the light that it's emitting. Let's try changing the light color from here to this orangey color, and you have the ability to use a custom intensity to the mesh itself by checking on this button here, and you can decrease or increase the visibility as you wish. You can make it 0.1, so we get this orangey color on the mesh right here, or we can increase it to 1. It starts to go into more of a white color, and with increasing it, it goes fully into white. I mean, like this. And the rest of the options are still the same as every single option we discussed before. Let's move into the Arnold Sky. Let's delete this Arnold mesh light. Head to Arnold's menu and choose Arnold Sky. As you can see, the Arnold Sky is a huge sphere that enveloping our scene or whatever we have in the file with specific color that we choose or with an HDRI image. Let's try changing the color. Instead of white, let's use anything else. Choose whatever color you like, or you can choose a HDRI image that works for you, something like this. So basically, an HDRI image is a preset for an lighting image that was captured and then made into a high-res image that we use to light our scenes with. This is an HDRI of a studio, as you can see. We have the ability to increase the intensity, exposure, everything that we would like. And that would be everything you need to know about lights to start using Arnold.